Good morning. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon. Nice to meet you. I'm Yu Xintong from FAO, Global Soil Partnership Land Water Division. Really great. It's my great honor to be here to join this workshop for the project, for the Soil Cooperation Assistance Fund project, capacity development on sustainable soil management for Africa and the Uganda project. So I would now here to introduce my colleagues from FAO Uganda representation, Martin Amu, the program associate in FAO Uganda office as the moderator of this workshop. Thank you, Martin. Now over to you. Please moderating the workshop. Thank you. Hello, Martin.
Yes, please. I think my network has had some issue in the beginning. Is it clear now? Okay. Good morning to all the participants and
Good morning.
Martin Amel is my name once again from FA Uganda and part of the team that has been involved in planning for this activity. And I wish to say you're welcome. Quickly, we believe that this should take us about 1.5 hours. I know there may be some challenges here and there to go through a Zoom meeting. So while I wanted really to be as brief as possible, I know that the agenda was shared and it highlights the sessions that we will have. We will have remarks from 3-4 people. Then we'll have a second session which will involve about 3 presentations. And then we will have a panel session where we have some key participants who will make some immediate remarks in response to the presentations that will be made. And then we will open up to all the participants and hopefully manage the discussion within that time. Again, that if not raised, you can use the chat to present the questions and it will be taken note and the responses then will be provided in case there's no opportunity to speak. And then we shall have a conclusion where we'll have the final remarks, the concluding remarks by the ministry leader, the one leading the ministry team, and then the FAO country representative. So basically, we have participants, I guess, from the different parts of the world. We have team from Rome, we have a team from China, we have teams from Uganda, and also from Uganda from different institutions. And so We would have loved to go through introduction, but that will take us the time. I think the list of the participants will be shared to all when the report is drafted. We'll know who is participating in this meeting. So to start on with the remarks, well, we had shared the agenda in terms of the opening remarks, but I've been guided that we will make some adjustments. We will start with the embassy. That's, excuse me, the names I may not be very good in it. The counselor from the Economic and Commercial Office, Embassy of the People's Republic of China, we will start. Then we shall have the FAO country representative. And then we shall have Jian Wang. And then we shall have the Commissioner Crop Production for the Ministry of Agriculture. I believe that's the new arrangement in terms of the order of the speakers. I hope it's clear. So please, you're welcome, Ms. Jiping Jiang. Please excuse me for the wrong pronunciation of the names. Please, you're welcome to make remarks. We think that would maximum 5 minutes, if less, better.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Martin. Good morning, everyone, distinguished delegates, participants. Well, I'm very glad to attend this workshop. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm a newcomer to this beautiful country, Uganda, and I just arrived 1 month ago. And I should say that I'm new to Uganda, but Uganda is not new to me, because I still remember 20 years ago when I chaired an international workshop, Uganda was frequently mentioned because Uganda is a good example for me, for China, and for international community in fighting against AIDS. And that workshop was about HIV/AIDS. And I was also impressed by the tremendous achievement made by Uganda working closely with international community in fighting against this global disease. And today in the area of agriculture, well, through trilateral and tri-party collaboration, Uganda project is also very impressive. And I was told that China, FAO, and the Republic of Uganda have also signed a letter of intent in 2006 while working together to support developing countries under the framework of the national and regional program for food security, for nutrition, agriculture, rural development. Well, I think we all recognize that the importance of collaboration among the southern countries through South-South cooperation in fighting against extreme hunger and poverty, as well as we are facing the same common challenges at global and regional levels. So I was informed by my colleague that the government of Uganda and China and FAO have achieved successful results in completing 2 phases of collaboration in the agriculture areas. And today, this sustainable soil management workshop is coming to be implemented. And then I think this is another good example of the tri-party collaboration in improving the capacities of balanced fertilization through South-South cooperation. So I hope that this project will benefit the farmers, peoples of Uganda, and set another good example for the southern countries to achieve food security in the framework of sustainable development goals. So let me congratulate the inception of this workshop, and I wish this project a great success. And I would like to introduce my colleague sitting beside me, Jessica Ng, working closely with you. And in the future, I think we will work more closely to make sure that this workshop benefits the local people, and then to have a bigger impact among the southern countries. So thank you very much for inviting me to have some brave opening remarks. I can hardly recognize the people on the screen, but I would say that I'm very glad to meet Mr. Antonio Corrodo, the Uganda FAO representative, and Mr. Amping Ye, Director, South-South and Triangular Cooperation in FAO, and Luwaka Alex, Assistant Commissioner, and many other colleagues, including Mr. Adicado Mansasar, Director. So, wow, many colleagues on the list. So I'm very much looking forward to the discussion, and then the opening question session at a later stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your remarks. Very informative. And just before I invite the next presenter, officer, to make remarks, I wanted to highlight that Alex Lwakuba is the commissioner.
That have many challenges.
Hello? I just wanted to observe that maybe the earlier agenda that we shared had an error in terms of the titles. Ms. Alex Lwakuba is the commissioner crop production in the Ministry of Agriculture. So that is a bit higher than what we had put there, which was an error on our side, which we didn't see in time. And within the participants, we have from NARO, the research institutes, that's in Kawanda and Serere. We have the university, the Bustema University and Makerere University. And then some NGOs have been invited. So that is part of the list of the participants, part of the participants that we have in this event. And then of course, the Ministry of Agriculture. At this point, let me invite the next in terms of our revised presentations. Speeches. The latest I had now will be having the FAO representative. Is that the case?
Yes.
Eugene can confirm.
Yes, Martin. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to welcome all of you, and also to express apologies from the FAO representative Dr. Antonio Querido. He couldn't be here this morning with you because of another very also important conflicting meeting he's having with the regional office. Otherwise, he expressed his apologies. And Dr. Antonio himself is a soil scientist, so his heart is very much with this project. I will read his remarks to you. And also, my name is Kennedy Ibokwe. I'm the team leader for the climate change program with FAO Uganda. So I'm reading the remarks of the FAO representative. Ms. Jikin Jan, Counselor, Economic and Commercial Office, Embassy of the Republic of China in Uganda. Representatives from the China International Center for Economy and Technology Exchange and China International Development Corporation. Mr. Alex Lukuba, Commissioner Crop Production, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. Mr. Yi, Director South and Triangular Cooperation with FAO headquarters. Representatives from the National Agricultural Research Institutes, in particular in Kawanda and Serere. Representatives from the academic institutions, in particular Makerere University and Busitema University. NGOs represented by the National Organic Agriculture Movement of Uganda, the FAO team in Rome, a FAO team in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, on my own behalf, and on behalf of FAO in Uganda, I warmly welcome you all to this Project Inception meeting. This event is an opportunity to inform key stakeholders about the project. It is important for stakeholders to have common understanding before full-scale implementation of the project. We also find this as an opportunity for FAO, the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and key stakeholders on soil matters to engage on issues of soils in Uganda. As many of you know, agriculture in Uganda is undertaken against many uncertainties. Soil condition and water situation in farms present considerable influence on agriculture production and productivity. With continued nutrient mining, climate change impacting on soil, on moisture levels, more attention is required on soil and water management for sustainable production. In the light of the various limitations to food security and agriculture development in Uganda, FAO remains committed to build capacity of national institutions, public and private sector institutions, as well as civil society organizations and the farming community in Uganda to overcome some of the priority limitations. In Uganda, FAO is currently developing a country program framework 2020 to 2025. In consultation with the agricultural sector players in Uganda and guided by the National Development Framework, FAO in Uganda has identified priority areas to be engaged with over the next 5 years in the country program framework. This will involve soils and water management concerns. These priorities are elaborated in the FAO Country Program Framework 2020 to 2025. This project, Capacity for Sustainable Soil Management, which we're here to launch today, we contribute to addressing the priority areas agreed upon with government as stated in the country program framework. However, FAO is also executing other projects. Some have complementarity with this project in contributing to the realization of the country program framework objectives. The project we are launching here today is to be implemented in close collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. For some specific activities, appropriate national institutions will be engaged. The details on project outputs, activities, and implementation arrangement will be elaborated in the presentation on the project this morning. I take this opportunity to encourage participants to listen in and have an appreciation of the project. As project stakeholders, your contributions today and later is of value for the successful implementation and sustainability of the project. I would like at this point to take the opportunity to thank the donor, the Chinese government through the China International Development Agency Corporation for funding the project. It reflects a shared interest in soil management in Uganda and of course also across the Africa region. Thanks to our partners, our Rome colleagues, for bridging between us and Chinese government in support of this project. We also like to thank the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries for the continued collaboration with FAO. And of course, thank to all of you participants from your respective institutions in Uganda. I would like to take this opportunity as well to thank the organizers of this event. This event was planned, organized by Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, FAO colleagues in both in Uganda and Rome. I would like to thank in particular Ms. Lydia Mogala from Ministry of Agriculture, Martin Amio from FAO in Uganda, and Dr. Tong from FAO Rome for taking the lead in organizing this event. Once again, I welcome all of you to this Project Inception meeting, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kennedy, for this for the remarks that you have made on behalf of the Dr. Antonio. At this point, I'd like to invite the next official to make some remarks for the opening session. And this will be Mr. Jian Wang.
Hi, Martin.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mr. Jinbiao Wang, Representative Director Ye Anbing. So please, Mr. Wang.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Mr. Alex Bakuba, Commissioner of Crop Production Department, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, the Republic of Uganda. Mrs. Jiang Jiqing, Consular Economic and Commercial Office, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China to the Republic of Uganda. Distinguished participants and dear colleagues, good morning. And I'm glad to attend this in-service workshop for the project of the capacity development on sustainable soil management for Uganda on behalf of the South Source and the China Anglo Cooperation Division of FAO. And in my own name as a senior FAO China South Source Cooperation Coordinator. Firstly, I would like to congratulate both FAO representation Uganda and the Land Water Divisions of headquarters, as well as all the concerned stakeholders for the hard work you have done to enable the smooth start of this project in such a challenging time. Soil plays a key role in addressing some of today's global challenges, such as food security, poverty reduction, climate change, mitigation, adaptation, and resilience, and among others. As such, soil contributes directly and indirectly to achievement of the 2030 agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals. However, soil fertility in this region in Eastern Africa is declining at an alarming rate due to unsustainable practices that lead to a degradation of the soil property. Indeed, in current soil fertility management practice by smallholders appear to be inadequate to counter the outflows of nutrients. Given that the population has been increasing in this region, this poses big challenges for the countries to address the declining soil fertility trend. To avoid inappropriate fertilizer recommendations and the low adoption of fertilizer use, good soil management practice suitable to local situations is urgently needed. Current fertilizer recommendations need to be revised by taking into account the soil fertility status, cropping systems, plant nutrients requirements, and the economic aspect of fertilizer inputs. Dear colleagues, source and China cooperation can play an important role in this regard, supporting southern countries to share knowledge, technologies, expertise, experience, and good practice through technical demonstration and capacity development. In these particular cases, with financial support from the South-South Cooperation Assistance Fund, China's technologies and experience on soil management will be shared with Uganda. Today, I'm delighted to witness the launch of this important project, aiming to develop capacities on soil sustainable development management in Uganda through a South-South cooperation within a framework of Global Soil Laboratory Network, Soil Online Learning Platform, and the International Code of Conduct for Sustainable Use of Management of Fertilizer. I'm sure that the implementation of this project will benefit Uganda through improving sustainable soil management as direct contribution to achieving good food security in the framework of Sustainable Development Goals. Dear colleagues, the government of Uganda has been a key partner for FAO, particularly in the area of South-South cooperation. The project in Uganda under the FAO-China South-South Cooperation Program, which has already completed 2 phases, is among the program's largest and most successful collaborations. We look forward to launching very soon the 3rd phase of the project with the inputs of $12 million and finding areas of synergy with the Sustainable Soil Management Initiative. We would like to reiterate our sincere thanks to the government of Uganda for their steadfast commitment and partnership with FAO. In particular, we'd like to extend our gratitude to His Excellency President Museveni for his great support of South-South cooperation, which he has expressed in person during the event of the 10th anniversary of the FAO-China SSC program, taking place in 2019 in Kampala. We also would like to extend thanks to the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry, and Fisheries for their continued cooperation and deep engagement with FAO. Dear colleagues, PST is committed to doing our best to facilitate the smooth implementation of this project to achieve the anticipated results in collaboration with all the key stakeholders. And I wish you a great success of this workshop. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the remarks. I'm happy we are keeping within time. At this time, I would like to invite the Commissioner Crop Production from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Ms. Alex Lwakuba, to make his opening remarks for this event. Please,
yeah, thank you,
Ms.
Moderator.
Alex Lwakuba, you're welcome.
Thank you, Moderator Martin. Ms. Jinping Yang, Consular, Economic and Commercial Office, Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Uganda, and thanks for the compliments you've made regarding achievements of South-to-South cooperation, the achievements so far posted in the context of South-to-South cooperation. Mr. Kennedy Igbo, Esquire, representing His Excellency Dr. Antonio Corredo, FAO Uganda Country Office, Mr. Wang, and the coordinator, Mr. Yuxin. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I am Alex Lwakuba, Commissioner Crop Production Department, representing the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries at this workshop. Greetings from the ministry, and we appreciate the organizers and the invitation. I want to make the remarks through 3 points. One, I make the following observations regarding the resource we are talking to. That soil is one of the cardinal resources required for agricultural production, and it's a pillar for economic development, if you like. Unfortunately, despite that huge importance and pivot in economic development, soil management in Africa, and more especially Uganda, has had non-reciprocal attention and prioritization. And it is on this note that we in the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries of the Republic of Uganda hereby sincerely appreciate this soil fertility management project designed by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and supported and funded by the People's Republic of China. We observe, and I do observe, that this project is very timely. It will go a long way in addressing increased production and productivity, which is an intervention area in our drive to commercialize agriculture and to foster agro-industrialization program of the Third National Development Plan. As far as I can remember, in my 32 years of working with this ministry of the sector, this soil fertility management project is in the auspices and ages of UNFAO, is the first of its kind, especially one which is going to be implemented within the context of the China-Uganda South-South Cooperation. It is the first of its kind, and we look at it with a lot of anxiety, and because it is coming to address the soil fertility management challenges, the soil degradation challenges in Uganda, but building on the opportunities that exist. On behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, allow me to sincerely appreciate the designers, the motives of this project, UNFAO, and the Academy of Sciences of the People's Republic of China, and all of you who have put a hand on this project. Thank you, even the organizers, FAO Country Office, Martin, thank you. And all of you participants for turning out for this launch. We welcome this project and we pledge full support to its implementation. I thank you very much for God and my country.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. and the representative of the Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Agriculture. Thank you for the remarks. And I believe it also opens the workshop. And so we proceed with the next presentations, which are kind of technical presentations. And after those, then we can have some, then go to the panel discussion. Unfortunately, we are moving without a break. That's the aspect of virtual meeting. And we condense it so that maybe we can persist for at least 2 hours. And then we'll break after that. So the technical presentations, we'll have one on a regional basis to cover Africa. Then we have one for Uganda, and then the focus on the project. This time, then I wish to welcome Professor Victor to make a presentation on the challenges and opportunities on soil fertility management in Africa.
Hello, Mr. Victor. You mute yourself. Please open unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now? Mr. Chairman.
Hello?
What is going on?
We are not yet hearing you. You sort of came, but you are not.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Martin, are you hearing me?
Yeah, it's now clear. Please, you can proceed. Hello?
Okay, but you can hear me now, I guess.
Okay, it's clear.
Hello?
Yes, please, it's now clear.
Can I speak now? All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Professor Victor Chude. My name is Professor Victor Chude. It's echoing.
Yes, Professor Victor Truth, there is an echo from your computer. So.
Are you there? Are you there, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, please.
Okay. My name is Professor Victor Chude. I'm the chairman of the African Soil Partnership. So I represent 43 African countries who are members of the African Soil Partnership under the Global Soil Partnership of FAO. My presentation is on the challenges and opportunities on soil fertility management in Africa. The important role soils play in sustainable human existence has been established over time. Efforts of various platforms such as the Global Soil Partnership GSP, the Intergovernmental Technical Panel on Soils, the European Union, the Global Soil Laboratory Network, and the International Code of Conduct for Sustainable Soil, Sustainable Use and Management of Fertilizers continually ensure that issues relating to sustainable soil management are at the forefront towards agricultural development worldwide. In Africa, the COVID-19, which crippled many activities, re-emphasized the need to look inwards for sustained growth and development in the midst of rising challenges. The question is, how do we harness available resources to ensure that the region's growing population, now referring to Africa, has access to sufficient nutritious food? How do we harness available agricultural resources for economic growth amidst financial crisis? Ladies and gentlemen, these are some pertinent questions sustainable soil management will ultimately answer. Why soil fertility management? Soil fertility management is critical to increase productivity and ultimately reduce hunger. It's critical to be put on the agenda if we have to increase nutrient density of crops, to reduce poverty and hunger. To reduce poverty and hunger, the correlation between degradation, hunger, and poverty is very close. This is also required, I'm referring to soil fertility management, for climate change adaptation and mitigation to achieve a land degradation neutral world and preservation of biodiversity and ecosystem services. Now with the issue of challenges of soil fertility management in Africa. These are the various challenges: soil degradation, which refers to nutrient depletion, erosion, and chemical pollution of various sorts. Another is the fact that little efforts towards expansion
Prof seems to be on mute. Eh? Professor?
Am I good now?
Yes.
Hello?
We can hear you.
I was talking about progress made so far. Can you hear me?
Yes. We had lost you for some time. But we can now hear you.
So do I You can hear me?
Yes.
All right. The challenges, let me go back to the challenges of soil fertility management in Africa, because this is very critical. That is the main focus of my lecture. The issues are soil degradation. And when you're talking about soil degradation, you're referring to depletion of nutrients, where farmers harvest all the crops and they are transported somewhere else and nothing returns back. There's the issue of erosion, both water and wind erosion. There's also the issue of acidification, salinization, compaction, and chemical pollution of different sorts. Then there's the issue of little effort towards expansion of arable land. Then there's the issue of soil and terrain in soil fertility.
Hello, everybody. We lost him again.
Can I continue?
Yes, please, Professor.
Isabella, can you take me to the progress of African? Progress so far. The next slide, please. In terms of the progress made so far, although some efforts have been made by national governments in Africa to address some of those challenges, but the efforts put in so far are not in any way commensurate with the magnitude of the challenges in the region. An extract from FAO publication titled "Boosting Soils shows the progress made so far on the 12 resolutions reached during the Abuja Declaration on Fertility. Hello. Now on the screen are extracts from the book I referred to, Boosting Soils in Africa, publication in the FAO. Now you can see hello.
I can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Proceed.
Okay. All right, thank you. Now you can see the indicators on the right are the status. Establishment of policy regulatory system. So far, it's unsatisfactory. Capacity for quality control on fertilizer quality, satisfactory. Elimination of taxes and tariffs, unsatisfactory. This is across Africa. Development of agro-dealer networks. Africans are doing good. Distant travels to purchase fertilizer. The distances are shortening, so it's good. Increase in the proportion of farmers using chemical fertilizer. Some progress is being made. Increasing market size, partially satisfactory. Introducing targeted subsidies, satisfactory. Introducing national finance facilities for importers and agro-dealers. That's good. Improving access to complementary inputs, satisfactory. Establishment of these financing mechanism, it's unsatisfactory. Zero poverty SDG 2, halving hunger or zero hunger, and 3, good health and well-being. So, investment in soil fertility management by African countries will address this first point raised. Then, of course, the issue of climate change adaptation and mitigation. When carbon stocks are increased through the use of organic materials and all that, which is a component of sustainable soil fertility management, then definitely the issue of climate change will be addressed. Effective management on land degradation, that is key. If we embark on sustainable soil fertility management, securing land tenure under voluntary guidelines on the responsible governance of tenure of land, fisheries and forestries, and is another issue. Then, of course, preservation of soil biodiversity. These are the that will be gained if African countries take to sustainable soil fertility management. So, call to action. Ladies and gentlemen, improvement in, these are some of the areas that we, African governments, should concentrate on. Improvement in national soil governance across all levels. Formulating favorable policies, creating an enable environment, ensure adequate funding to soil fertility management, and other issues related to soil. Then there's a need for high-level dialogue, where we're talking of the need for Abuja 2. Let's go back again. All the African countries, that was done in Abuja 1 in 2006. Let's look at what progress have been made so far, and then advance
The network for Prof seems to be on and off. But at the end, we shall share the presentation for all participants to catch up with any gaps that may have risen. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
From the slides, I missed the last bit, but the slides indicate it has come to an end. Is that fine? Is that okay?
Hello?
Yes, Prof, you have come to an end?
Yeah, we're talking about call to action. Isabel, can you put the last slide, please? The Isabel. Isabel, are you there? Call to action. Sensitization, information dissemination, intensification of multi-institutional
Hello, Prof. Hello? Okay, maybe we can wish to appreciate the challenge. And since we will share the presentations, I think in the interest of time, we would.
Yeah, the challenges. Can you put on the screen the challenges, because this is key to, I know there's a presentation specifically on the challenges in Uganda.
Yes, Prof. Now, the suggestion is there is a on and off, but since the presentation has been available, it can also be shared. We thought now we proceed to have the presentation from Uganda, if we are fine with it, for us to proceed. Because in the interest of time, I believe you had already passed on some run through it. Yes, Commissioner. I see there's already, your presentation is on. Yes, Mr. Alex Lwakuba.
I'm coming. I want to get a full screen. Full screen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, moderator. Thanks to Professor Victor, and picking it up from Professor Victor, mine is kind of a presentation of the details with respect to Uganda. I've put on another quote and put off the other one. This is just the presentation outline. And then I go straight to the introduction, and I'll make some remarks here, emphasizing the fact that soil is essential in meeting food security and also addressing poverty. It is also vital as far as the environment management is concerned. Therefore, it is crucial in achieving SDGs. And if you like, there is that intricate relationship between environment, that's where you can find soil, economy, and society. So if we are to achieve sustainable development, soil management, and especially soil fertility management, is crucial. However, as I had already mentioned, it has had limited attention and prioritization, not only in Uganda, but I think elsewhere in Africa. Thanks to the Abuja summit, but the progress is low as we have had. Soil is important, therefore, because it's important in addressing agricultural production, productivity, moderating environment, and it is also used in the construction industry. However, in Uganda, we're experiencing the following. This is not exhaustive, but these are some of the challenges, the visible challenges with regard to soil fertility management. Awareness, low prioritization, and always limited financial resources. Lack of knowledge among farmers, it also limited adoption or no adoption of soil fertility remedial or enhancing technologies, like integrated soil fertility management, integrated nutrient management. Then we have uncoordinated soil knowledge management, and the messages that we take out. Go there and we are still complacent that Uganda is fertile from the years of Sir Winston Churchill saying, oh, this is a beautiful and very fertile country, anything and everything can grow anywhere, anyhow, anytime. So we must get out of that complacency. Another challenge is we are now really observing with even our eyes, the cost of degradation are so high. At one time, as later and when estimated it at 400 million US dollars per year. That was the cost of soil erosion. Then continuous cultivation with minimum use of fertilizers is continuous cultivation, and all indicators of declining soil fertility evident in eastern Uganda, even areas, even central, almost in all areas of Uganda, there are indicators. We have the challenge of an availability, inaccessibility, and affordability of the required fertilizers. Moreover, in the right formulations, we have fertilizers which are meant to go to tea being used to fertilize their maize. And these are challenges of affordability and even accessibility. Lack of requisite capacity and infrastructure. In some areas, we don't have the soil scientists and even the knowledgeable extension staff. The infrastructure to test, to analyze the soils. We have only one national laboratory at Kawanda, but this one also has obsolete equipment, and it cannot cope with the demand. Now we want to regionalize these fertilizer testing centers. So like we have one at Serere, but also it lacks reagents and personnel. Lack of a specific institution, one-stop center to coordinate all soil issues in Uganda. Professor Victor called us to think of coordination and collaboration of institutions, the various institutions. Here we have many institutions. We don't have harmonization or coordination of the institutions that are handling soil. We have National Agricultural Research Organization, NARO, and laboratory at Kawanda. We have Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, National Environment Management Authority, that's something, but not enough. And then academia, Makerere University, for example, and also non-government organizations. But we need coordination and harmonization. So there is even no harmonized soil research. There is limited research. The focus is only on a few aspects and neglecting others. Soil biology, we are not actually handling the elements of soil in totality. The soil physics, soil chemistry, soil biology, we're handling only a few in research. However, that one mentioned, and we have many more, but these are just examples. However, we have the following opportunities. One is that there is increasing political and high policy level recognition of the importance of soil and the obtaining challenges. And at one time, when His Excellency the President was driving from Eastern Uganda back to State House in Entebbe, he observed poor yields in Eastern stunted maize, and he directed us, and I have the directive to mention, directed us to intervene immediately. So our leaders, political leaders in the ministry, supportive of expeditious soil policy development. So we have that political and policy level recognition. That's an opportunity we needed to harness. Then we also elaborated a sustainable land management program, and sustainable land management issues, including soil, recognized in national development plans like National Development Plan 2 and 3, which is, we are now implementing 3. Then the Agricultural Sector Strategic Plan 1, 2, and 3. The National Agriculture Policy of 2013, actually sustainable natural resource management is objective number 5 of that policy. We have also a fertilizer policy of 2016, and recently we have approved the National Organic Agriculture Policy. All these mention soil, fertility management, and that's an opportunity we need to ride on to implement the strategies. I've lost my slides, but if you can zing, if you can put back my slides, I've lost them. I don't know whether the time. So can go. We can, I think I was continuing with the challenge, the opportunities. I was continuing with the opportunities. And if I may continue, you know, I don't see the rest. We have also in Uganda some platforms with soil experts. Yes. We have some platforms with soil experts in Uganda. For example, at regional level, we have Soil Science Society of East Africa, and we have Soil Science Society of Uganda. We have the Soil Health Consortium in Uganda. We need to build onto these skills and capacities to scale out the implementation of soil fertility management interventions in Uganda. Then we also have tertiary institutions of learning, like universities, with soil programs. Makerere, then we have Uganda Matters University, Busitema University. These have soil programs. Then another opportunity is that there is renewed interest to finalize the soil policy. That is an opportunity. We have also a growing interest to partner with the UNFAO to establish a Uganda Soil Institute at Busitema University. How I wish Dr. Ferredo was here. I think he would have loved actually to hear this one, but nonetheless, he will see it. Then in the sector, we have the agro-industrialization program within the Third National Development Plan. So this agro-industrialization program and the urge to commercialize agriculture are going to call for increased production and productivity. That's the emphasis, and will demand more use of fertilizer. Then we have the Toro School Fertilizer Factory, the grain fertilizer formulation plant at Mukono. These are going to address the challenges of availability. Then our oil and gas, if exploration takes off, will address the local manufacturing of fertilizers to address an availability, and perhaps even the prices will be reduced. Then on knowledge management, we now have a revitalized the Agriculture Extension Directorate. And this will be pivotal in extension in knowledge management. Our observation in conclusion is that only through strengthening soil fertility management shall we be able to realize increased production and productivity, the commercialization of agriculture agenda, and then improve the livelihoods. These are the aspirations of the Third National Development Plan and agriculture and agro-industrialization agenda. Then now, as a way forward, or call to action, if I may borrow Professor's word, we need to build both human and infrastructure capacities. So we need the human capital and infrastructure, but at all levels, right from local government, sub-counties, if we can. We have soil testing centers there, and even rapid, we need also to scale out the innovations of universities like the soil testing kits to begin with, and the mobile testing equipment. Then infrastructure. We have, yes, recognized national agricultural laboratories in Uganda, which is at Kawanda, which is a member of the GLOSOLAN, the Global Soil Laboratory Network. However, we are saying that us in the ministry, in order for us to entrench our regionalization, soil testing, regionalization, soil testing equipment regionalization, if I may use that word, we are desirous of making sure that we regionalize the soil testing services. We get away from relying on only Kawanda, which is in only one place. We have Kawanda in Central, and then we have Makerere University. We desire to regionalize these services because the demand is high. So we prefer that this project concentrates on equipping Serere, and with Serere, they have a modern equipment, the atomic absorption photochromatography that can analyze 32 samples, and the equipment is new, only that it is redundant. We only need some personnel and reagents. So we have the view that we need to start with that hanging fruit. And also this Serere, Nasari Serere, that facility is positioned in Eastern Uganda. And Eastern Uganda actually has the worst declining indicator, the worst soil fertility management indicators. So we need to start with Serere, where we are going to make tremendous impact with the resources that are available in this project. Then we need to fast track the establishment of the one-stop center at Busitema. Serere is also close to Busitema, and Busitema will be using it even for training. So that's why in the ministry, we are thinking that this project should focus on Serere, but under the supervision of Kawanda, which is a GLOSOLAN member. We appreciate UNFAO and Chinese Academy of Sciences and the People's Republic of China for this project initiation and funding, actually for bringing this first ever soil fertility management project under UN circles in Uganda. Thank you very much. Stopped.
Thank you, Mr. Alex Lwakuba, for the presentation. Fortunately, it went through without any hiccup on the internet. Well delivered.
Thank you.
We believe that at this point, we could have the next presentation so that he can then usher us into the discussions. And the presentation, this one is going to participant, this is focusing on the project. We'll highlight the project outputs, activities, and fairly some aspects of implementary arrangement, but the Commission has already discussed, presented some aspects of the implementation arrangements as observed from the ministry and with the guidance from the ministry. So, Dr. Eugene, please, you're welcome to make the presentation on the project. I hope that it gives clarity to the participants to know what the project is about, the activities, and any other key information that you find relevant as your presentation will deliver. Please, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Now I will share my screen here. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon again. My name is Xun Tong. It's my great honor to be here, represent FAO Global Soil Partnership to represent the implementation plan of Soil Cooperation Assistance Fund Soil project in Uganda. So as many speakers mentioned that soil is crucial. It's very important element in agriculture sector. It is commonly known that 95% of our food comes from our soils. And in many cultures, soil called the mother of human being. So it's our responsibility and it's our duty to protect this important soils, important resources of human beings. So when we are saying about soils, we need to know the study of soils, what our human being did to soils. So in 2015, the Global Soil Partnership and its advice body, International Technical Panel on Soils, together developed a landmark publication called The Status of the World Soil Resources. Experts together evaluate the situation, the status of soils globally and regionally. So in sub-Saharan Africa, soil nutrition imbalance is one of most important threats to soils. So we need to pay attention to soil nutrition imbalance. So that's why this project developed, because in this reason, soil fertility is a problem. We need to pay attention. We need to find a solution to deal with this threat. And this project is the Soil Cooperation Assistance Fund Soil Project. It's the first time of this donor from China called the China International Center for Economic Exchange, Technical Exchange from the Ministry of Commerce, funding FAO as a triangle project. And the implementation organization is FAO representation in Uganda and also the Land Water Division of FAO in HQ, in the headquarters. And the key partner in Uganda is Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. The period of this project is from 2020 to 2022. So how to implement this project? So we will using the platform of Global Soil Partnership, three key activities. The first one is the Fertilizer Code, the International Code of Conduct for Sustainable Use Management of Fertilizers. And second one is Global Land, which is Global Soil Laboratory Network, and the EduSource, an online e-learning platform. Very clearly, three platforms we will using for implement this project. So for the international, the Fertilizer Code, we have developed national implementation plan. For example, we want to support countries to assess national capacities on soil fertility, national trainings on sustainable soil management of fertilizers, offer trainings to retailers and agri-dealers, harmonize methods and data on soil fertility, provide balanced fertilization technology recommendations, and also we want to develop some pilot sites that can be tested the result of implementation. Also, we want to provide policy guidance, like review and develop national policies for best use of fertilizers and sustainable soil management. You can see all those elements in our project. So the number one, the key platform is the fertilizer code. And the second one is global land. The global land was established to build and strengthen the capacity of laboratories in soil analysis and to respond to the need for harmonized soil analytical data. So this is related to the laboratory. This platform is related to soil laboratory in order to support the country to build capacity on soil testing, fertilizer testing. EduSource will propose a series of training materials and e-learning courses on soil-related issues. We will develop a series of materials, include video tutorials, presentation, posts, webinars, but we will also maybe develop other materials that can help us to training the multiple stakeholders in the country. So now we will go into specifically the implementation plan of the project. There are three outputs of this project. The first one is scientific and technical cooperation promoted. The activity one of this output one, we will provide equipment for efficient laboratory soil testing and efficient fertilizer testing. We will cooperation with partners in Uganda together to promote the capacity in laboratory for soil testing and fertilizer testing. This is the first activity of output one. The second activity, we will support to performing soil sampling, collecting analysis, as well as fertilizer use and recommendation on site. We will together with partners in Uganda to collect at least 500 soil samples and analysis in the laboratory. Then we will develop, establish a soil fertility database. When we want to recommend some management practices in the field, for example, in East Uganda, which degraded very seriously recently, we need to know the situation. So firstly, we send funding the equipment to the laboratory, then we collecting soil samples to know the status, how degraded of soils. Then we can go into recommend good practices. The third activity of output one is conduct fertilizer quality assessment. Whatever we think the fertilizer is the number one nutrition resources for our crops, for our soils, for our agriculture system. So we must know the quality of fertilizers. So in this activity, we will also cooperation with partners in Uganda together collect at least 100 fertilizer items and then test them, then build a fertilizer database. The number 4 activity of output one is conduct field experiment and demonstration. So we will cooperation with local partners to conduct a field experiment to show the good management practices to the people, to the farmers. From my experience, I noticed that farmers, they want to see the result of crops, then they believe in you. So this activity, we would like to develop, conduct some field experiment, but the management practice here not only include chemical fertilizers, we will also include other fertilizers, for example, organic fertilizers, recycled fertilizers, that suitable the local situation. Each country have their condition, each country have their situation. They have their different resources of organic fertilizers. So we want to develop an experiment including all those elements. The number 5 of output 1 is establish a fertilizer service. When we were conducting implement the fertilizer code, we got a lot of feedback like the fertilizer supply chain is very important in country. A healthy fertilizer supply chain could support capacity building on soil fertility and the sustainable use of fertilizers. So in this activity, we would like to provide fertilizer production technology, to organize trainings to multiple stakeholders related to the fertilizers in local area, organizing several trainings for them. The output 2 is the national capacities on sustainable soil management practices are enhanced. The first activity of output 2, we will develop a course on sustainable soil management practices. We will for sure working with local partners together to develop a course. Then we will integrate this course in the Ideal Soil platform. The second activity of output 2 is establish Ideal Soils platform. Now, Global Soil Partnership, we already developed a platform of Ideal Soils in our website, but we will continue to update the website to input more courses, more materials in the website in order to make it more useful for audience, for multiple stakeholders to learn the sustainable soil management practices and learn the knowledge of soils, the good practice of soils in this platform. The number 3 of output 2, we will organize trainings. We will organize trainings to trainers, how to use this Ideal Soil platform, how to training by using the courses developed. And those courses should have element of Uganda in this project. And we training the trainers, for example, the teachers in the university, the officers in the ministry and the extension services experts, how to use this Ideal Soil platform and how to use our courses. The number 4 activity of output 2 is a demonstration workshop for universities and institute to demonstrate availability of Ideal Soil platform. This activity will training the audience, including farmers, multiple stakeholders, and students in the university. So this is really training to the audience who will want to learn from this platform, from this courses. The last output is knowledge sharing between global and regional partners is promoted. So in this the first activity of this output, we will develop a policy brief which summary the result of our project with the partners in Uganda together. We will develop policy brief to summary what we achieved, what output, what the experience from this when after we implementing the project. And the number 3, the second activity of this output is organize international workshop to share experience. We will work with the FAO office in Uganda and also the partners in Uganda together to organize the international workshops to show the result, to show the output, to show the experience of this project. to people, especially to Africa country, to sub-Saharan Africa country, because you may have the same issue on soil fertility management. That's the last activity of our project. So as you can see, this is the agenda of implementation plan. Now we are already in the January of 2021. So I think, I believe we can together put efforts to together achieve the goals, the objective of this project to work with you. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm here as the coordinator of the project, but I would also want to hear your voice, hear your suggestions, hear your comments, especially during the discussion panel. And also please feel free to contact me and my colleagues in Uganda office, Martin, by using the emails. Please feel free to contact me if you have any good ideas, suggestions, or comments to the project to like together to promote sustainable soil fertility management in Uganda. Thank you for your attention again. That's all. Over to you, Martin. Hello, Martin. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Martin. I thought I was lost. Hello, everybody.
Yes, Doctor, thank you.
We can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. I know that's a challenge of a virtual meeting. You may not see what don't see the participant directly. And so we, colleagues, we have come to the end of the presentations. And it's been quite long. But now we would like to have in our program, there was some experts that were picked to give their opinions or comments before we can open up to the generally. But again, as said, the chat is also on. Please, you can keep sharing aspects from the chat as well. So we have, I hope we have Mr. Ronald Vargas with us, Mr. Kror John, Professor Tenua JS.
Yes.
And Mr. Eugene Michael. We would like to go in that same order. So, Mr. Ronald, you're welcome. Just not more than 5 minutes. Oh, the shorter, the better.
Thank you very much, Martin. And well, greetings to all the speakers and the authorities that have been present.
I'm not sure whether others are hearing you.
We can't hear you.
Mr. Ronald? Ronald, Mr. Ronald, are you around?
Martin, maybe we can go to another one. If we get him, and we can get back to him if it doesn't harm the work, the flow.
I think that can work.
Can you hear me?
If you struggle, yeah, it's back.
Okay, apologies. Well, internet connection is always like this.
Yeah.
Full of surprises. So thank you very much again for the opportunity. And I want to congratulate all of you for being part of this Inception workshop where we are launching this important project. So thanks, of course, to the authorities in Uganda, to our office in Uganda, and a special thanks to the donor who makes this project possible. I also want to greet Victor Chude, who's the chair of the African Soil Partnership. And this is an example of the activities that we can do partnering among countries with donors, etc., in order to promote sustainable soil management. Basically, what we want to do with this project, but also our expectations are that we want to enhance the capacities in Uganda for having sustainable soil management. And this has, of course, different elements. One of the main elements is to have reliable data and information for making decisions, not only at policy level with the ministry, but also at plot level with the farmers. And that's why I was reading also some of the recommendations made in terms of using, not trying to find a balance between not only focusing on laboratories, but also in trying to bring practices, adoption of good practices on the ground by farmers. So I understand this is very challenging because we would like to have all these topics covered in all Uganda. But of course, this is just the start. We want to see how it works, and equipping, especially the laboratory, not only with equipment, but training the personnel there with the methodologies that we have, for instance, in the Global Soil Laboratory Network, and trying to maybe establish a national or Ugandan soil laboratory network so that the standards and the standard operation procedures are aligned and harmonized nationally. I think that's very important, because otherwise you can have different results, and then at the end of the day, the most challenging ones will be the farmers who have to adopt different recommendations. So it is our hope that with this project, we will elevate the capacities of the laboratories in terms of methodologies, personnel, but especially delivering the type of data and information that decision makers and farmers are waiting for. At the same time, we will really focus on the issue of fertility and fertilizers, because that's the main issue we saw from the presentations. And fertilizer quality there is fundamental. We need to ensure that in the laboratories, we are able to assess the quality of these fertilizers so that we know what we are putting in our soils. Because it is not that you just put nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. There are other stuff in the fertilizer that needs to be known and what we are putting there. And then we need to train farmers on how to make that. So it is really our challenge to make the best possible use of this project, but especially trying to see how the good results of this project can be scaled up in the future by having maybe the same donor, hopefully, and trying to have more hectares covered under such a project. I really wish you all the success in the implementation of this project. You can count with us at the Land and Water Division in FAO with the Global Soil Partnership, but I can tell you that this will be successful only if there is ownership by our colleagues from the Ministry of Agriculture, the laboratories, etc. Otherwise, this will be difficult. If there is ownership and all the willingness to support, we will do more than what we can in order to support you. I thank you very much again.
Okay, thank you for those comments and additional information. As the challenge we have with internet, we are still waiting for Mr. Crow to join. Professor Tenua, if you're around and available to make your remarks, observation and comments.
Can you hear me?
Kindly.
Okay, now I will try to be very fast. But I must say, this is very credible that Soil is now on board. It's long overdue. And most of our concerns are picked up by this project. I'm only concerned that maybe it is taking everything, and I don't know how it is going to work. And I'm not too sure that it is picking up supplementing or complementing on the existing initiatives and the reports, and so it should not be as if it is the first of its kind in Uganda, because there have been other initiatives. But as a matter of questions, I would like to raise something about the dealers, fertilizer dealers. Most of them don't know fertilizers. They are not professionals. So lots of mistakes are made, including non-deliberate adulteration, changing of containers, and being unable to advise the farmers. If you look at the vets, a vet will sell the drug, but also be able to have input in its use and help the farmer to understand better the problem and then decide on which alternatives that are available. We don't have that as far as our dealers are concerned. So I don't know whether this project can be helpful in that direction. The project is talking about a course, which is very good, but we needed to do a needs assessment so that the course meets with the needs, rather than assuming that we really know what is needed out there, and therefore we should organize a course. And then the other one is, I think the link with the universities is not quite clear, except for labs. Universities generate human power, graduates, and we have them, they don't have jobs. And so our sustainability is not possible. And yet there are going to be lots of activities out there that will require these graduates. So I don't know how the project can link up with the universities to make sure that the graduates we train fit into the kind of niche the project is going to help us to create out there. Then somewhere in the activity 2.4, there is training workshops, and I thought around there we should include demonstration plots or sites whereby farmers should go and participate with the researchers to know how fertilizers work, the do's and don'ts, as we plan to outscale some of the technologies. The other one is yes, activities have been listed, but we don't know how participants are going to participate. The role of different participants is not quite clear. Maybe that is coming on later on. And then usually we promote a lot of production. We know production or productivity is a problem, an issue. But at the end of the day, then it becomes marketing. If you don't have markets, you cannot produce. Very quickly, you get a feedback and you cannot produce. And that has been a problem with farmers buying fertilizers, using them, and then selling them at the same price as those who have not used fertilizers. And sometimes having a bumper crop can also be a disadvantage. I hope I'm not talking in the parables here. Hello, am I still okay? I'm about to finish.
Okay, sir. 1 minute more.
1 minute, yes. And these markets go for inputs also. How do we organize farmers to be able to access inputs more reliably in terms of quantity, quality, and in terms of type? Then the issue of biofertilizers, it would look as if we are inclined more towards inorganic fertilizers. And our experience shows that within our environment, biofertilizers are easier to access and to handle because they don't have a lot of don'ts and environmental concerns. I don't know how this is going to augur within the project. I think that's it. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Prof, for your comments and the issues that you have raised, which will inform also this project. Dr. Eugene Michael, are you present?
Dr. Ugen, not Eugene.
Ugen, Michael.
Yeah. He's the director, Serere Nasari.
Yeah, he's the next on board. I think Alemon, I'd seen him in the list of participants. I don't know whether I'm still on. Oh, these challenges of internet, he can also be an issue.
It is unfortunate that he might have left, or he's frozen. And even Mr. Okrol, we don't expect Mr. Okrol also from a policy analysis point of view. And it is unfortunate that we have lost that one also. He's not with us. So moderator, please, Martin, you can decide.
I think in their absence, if any of them gets back, they will learn that any of them is back, then we can give them a chance. But then we want to open this up to anyone who has any contribution, a comment, or a question in line with the presentations that have been made, and also earlier remarks. This is open. Using you're able to see those who will raise their hand, digital hand.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, whoever has any contribution, comment, a question,
Hello, Martin. Can I have an opportunity to make a comment?
Please, you're welcome.
My name is Chariton Namuoza. I'm the Chief Executive of the National Organic Agriculture Movement of Uganda, in short, NOGAM, the umbrella organization that brings together organic producers, processors, exporters, and other stakeholders towards organic agriculture development in Uganda. First of all, I want to register my sincere thanks and appreciation with the organizer of this Inception workshop, FAO, and I want to thank the Minister of Agriculture for joining hands with FAO and the Chinese government to put this project together. As other, of course, presenters or speakers have highlighted, I think this is a very, very important project for Uganda, especially at a time like this when obviously there is declining soil fertility. But I want to put it more accurately. Actually, most of the soils that we have, when you move around, for someone that understands, you know, how a healthy soil should look like, most of the soils that we see have not only declined in soil fertility, but they are dead, if you like, and therefore they cannot support crop production. Of course, from the presentations I've highlighted, I've noted some of the challenges. And one of the challenges that I saw is that besides, you know, focusing on improving the fertility itself, we need to be cognizant of the fact that farmers are growing crops for a particular market. Now, in a situation where farmers, of course, have smallholder, have small farms, smallholder, farming systems within which they are operating, it becomes difficult to implement interventions that are not going to be consequential in any way. Where, for instance, we promote the use of inorganic fertilizers, which we expect farmers to buy, but given their, small farms, they might not actually, utilize such fertilizers. And I want to thank the Commissioner of the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Nutrition and Fisheries, the Commissioner in charge of crop production, Mr. Alex Wakuba, for highlighting a clear opportunity in his presentation that now that we have an organic policy, the National Organic Agriculture Policy, it is time for us now to start, harnessing the use of organic fertilizers within the context of the farm, of the small, farming system, where a farmer has, for instance, cocoa, he's growing cocoa, intercropped with vanilla, and with other, food crops, yams, and what have you. And on that small piece, he expects to earn and support his family, pay for all these, things that constantly, come his way. So I would like to emphasize the fact that, yes, the project has come at the right time, but we need to conduct trials, field trials using organic fertilizers and promote, the organic farming practices such as the use of, leguminous plants that again improve the soil, properties, the soil health, the biology, the physics, and the chemical composition. I submit.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chariton. I would like to give an opportunity, maybe 5 minutes, if any more, the maximum of 5 minutes, for the discussions. If not, we're slightly off our time, although it's okay, the issue is because we also started late a bit. But we essentially, by the time we are allocated, it's about within the duration. So if there's anyone, please just get in and possibly
may I proceed? Moderator, sir.
Please.
Hello. Yeah, Joshua
Proceed.
Zaki, working with the environmental arts. I have also made several interventions in the chat. I don't know whether I will come back to those in the chat, but just in a summary, I could also take you through for purposes of emphasis. One, I'm also in agreement with earlier responses that this is a timely project, and certainly commend the partners who put together the ideas into this project, but also the donors who are putting aside resources to have structured interventions advanced to address issues of soil fertility management. I just had like 3 observations. One was that the issue of access to soil testing services and the guidance to the smallholder farmers is still a huge gap. Where they exist, they are also still very costly and expensive, and certainly very few farmers can afford. That also compromises the decision-making around investments towards sustainable soil management in terms of making informed decision-making based on the status of soil fertility. So I was just wondering whether there is opportunity to upscale or advance access to these services, possibly this being a capacity building project. It could also consider conducting a pilot in terms of strengthening capacity at district and sub-county level for purposes of delivering these soil testing services and guidance. And then the other observation was on a clear articulation of the situation analysis of soil fertility management and the initiatives going on in the country. And I must thank Commissioner Alex Lwakuba for this, because he also clearly pointed out the key emerging issues, the challenges, the opportunities, the government response in terms of policies, plans, and strategies. But of course, my observation is that without responsive investment in terms of finances and human resources, all these very good ideas will remain on paper. So my thinking is that as we roll out implementation of the project, there should be other supportive engagements at a higher level to influence decisions in terms of additional prioritization, additional resources, to see that these very good plans and strategies are actually implemented and operationalized up to the lowest level at the community where the issue is. The last thing is that because of the internet being not very stable, I could have missed out aspects on the project scope in terms of where the implementation sites are, which are the districts targeted, but also how many districts, because this will also be critical to gather subsequent learnings and experiences to inform subsequent implementation of policies and programs, but also the desired impacts on ground. But of course, I also observe that the total financing resource budget is not very big. We're talking about a budget of $500,000 US, but it will be good to have this clear in the project.
Joshua?
Can I contribute after Joshua?
I think he hasn't gone off, but you can proceed.
I'm Dr. Kaizi. Am I allowed?
Yes, you are clear.
Okay, thanks very much, Martin and others. We are indeed grateful for the Chinese government and FAO. My contribution, I think we should not really emphasize soil testing because of the cost, as has already been mentioned. And also when the commissioner in his opening remark, he said that our soils are poor in fertility. I think, and one of the major challenges out there is the lack of knowledge among stakeholders of whether the value of fertilizers, whether organic or inorganic, to increase crop yield. And then also, we should also take into consideration what Professor Tenywa mentioned about the markets to absorb the surplus production. Then my third intervention is for colleagues who are overemphasizing organic management of the soils. Where shall we get the organic materials or the organic sources of nutrients, trace the productivity? Because when you go to National Development Plan 3, one of the goals is to address raw agricultural production and productivity in the country. My humble request is that let's consider an integrated soil fertility management. Otherwise, that's my only record. Then lastly, about the supporting laboratories at the sub-county and district levels. I think a lab, we need the people of different discipline in the soils. So let's look at about the capacity building in terms of manpower who are going to manage this lab. And also let's not forget about the quality of the data which will be generated from the different labs, what is coming out from the soil testing kits, and what is coming out from the mobile laboratories. Thanks very much, Martin.
Okay. At this point, wanted us to maybe get responses to some of the comments or questions that were raised. Unless if Doctor is back, Dr. Eugene, we shall give him an opportunity at any time he comes. So I see from the comments and observations which have been made, either from the chat and also those that have spoken, there are issues of most of them are for improvement of the project, for being to be considered. For instance, Professor raised the issue of training for the fertilizer dealers, issues of markets, linkages with the university, issues are dealing with to what extent should we be dealing with the soil testing. Many of them, I believe, from my own take, I'm sure our colleague from Dr. Izin will respond to some of them, and the commissioner, Alex Lwakuba, may have picked also a few that he can provide a response. But generally, this for consideration for going forward in the implementation of the project. But I also know that there's a recording going, this is being recorded. So this all will be reviewed and taken into account by the team that is leading the coordination of this project. It's unfortunate it is a virtual meeting. We would have had more to elaborate and discuss all of them, maybe in working groups, but we could not achieve much than the physical meetings that we would have undertaken. But in this point, I want to start maybe with Dr. Eugene, and maybe support the headquarter team. You've had some feedback to the presentation on the project. Maybe you have some peculiar aspect that you may need to provide immediate response. Please, you're welcome.
Okay, Martin, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the participants to writing those related questions to the implementation of the project. Thank you very much. I hope I can catch most of them question, and I hope I can answer your question correctly. From Mr. I don't know the name, but in the Zoom is Andrew. You mentioned some question I can answer here. For example, you mentioned the courses in the university, with the role of courses in the university. So for sure, those courses is for training multiple stakeholders, not only for students in the university. So it's kind of not for graduate students. So we can supporting you for those courses on under our EduSol platform, but those courses not the graduation courses for your university for sure. And you mentioned the organizations and the role of universities in this project. I think the university can it can be answered by the Commissioner as Alice Kakuba about the role of university, but I think you can supporting and we can cooperation together to training the students by using courses for sure, but I'm not sure it's graduation courses. And also you may can supporting us to collect soil samples, etc. So this is we will discuss those issues later with Commissioner from the ministry. Other participants, and you also mentioned the organic fertilization and bio-fertilizers. Yes, we in our project we promote holistic sustainable soil management practices, not only using the chemical fertilizer for sure, because somehow due to the local conditions, fertilizer may not accessed by farmers. So we will develop holistic practices, including all kinds of fertilizers, organic fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, but it's well suitable for the local practice. We come together to develop those practices. So the colleague from mentioned that the market is very important, and especially for smallholder farmers, they cannot access fertilizers from the market. Those issues is systematically issues in the country. So we're hoping we can exchange the experience from other countries, for example, from China and from other Africa country, to exchange experience how to develop to support the market to build a very good, healthy fertilizer supply chain here in Uganda. So for sure, we will together to discuss it, and especially from the Ministry of Agriculture, we can together to study the situation and learning experience from other countries, together to hopefully to promote the policy in Uganda and how to build more sufficient fertilizer market. So that's our purpose, our objective. But still, we need your knowledge and the knowledge from experience and knowledge from Ministry of Agriculture, and together and to support this policy, to support the build fertilizer market. Joshua also mentioned that the soil testing is important for decision making, but also we need some trainings in the country, in different regions of the countries. That's one of objectives of the project. We will organize several trainings to different stakeholders. We also would like to training the end users, like farmers on the ground. by using our crosses. So therefore, the crosses we will develop will be very important for trainings. So we need your support and your efforts to make the crosses more suitable in Uganda, and your knowledge on the ground to modify the crosses in our platform. Then therefore we can use them to training the multiple stakeholders. I don't know where, for example, where we will implement the project. Yes, we already have an idea how to implement it with after discussion with the Ministry of Agriculture. So I think maybe over to commissioner, like how to working in this issue, Alice Luakuba. So from my side, that's all from me. Thank you, Martin.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. You may want to highlight some of the specifics or how, in terms of the implementation,
yeah,
and the engagement of stakeholders.
Thank you very much once again. I appreciate the comments of all the participants, and that is the reason actually you participated or you were invited to participate. And this is what we want. And we need even more comments to improve, to polish the part, but also to make the implementation process more effective so that we can deliver on the objectives. We are working towards having a project, I think a bigger project than this one. This is a TCP. This is a technical cooperation project. So it is like a trailblazer. It's like a pilot, if you like. So if we can sharpen it, and if we can go out and deliver, then we stand chances of getting a broader, scaled out project or even program, who knows. So I thank you very much for your comments. Two, I agree with Dr. Sien, the coordinator. Most of the issues raised here, or some of the issues, will be handled in a detailed discussion with the ministry and with the FAO. So some may not be exhausted here, but later on, based on what you have given us, we are going to address them. Then if I go to the specifics, allow me to start with the one from FAO or country office. Yes, that there is need for ownership and committing resources. We take this advice seriously, and that is why for us, we are fully committed. We accepted this project, and the cooperation is actually getting warmer and warm between us. The collaboration between us and FAO country office is actually strong. The collaboration is strong. So we have owned it up, and we are participating, and we have participated in the preparation of this workshop. We've made recommendations to some of the participants. It is MAIF that made these recommendations, by the way. So we are participating. With regard to committing resources, yes, we are going to explore. It is Ministry of Finance responsible for that, and also Parliament for appropriation. So ours is to prepare the right documents. Certainly your advice is going to help us greatly. We are now in the planning period. So this will be important for us to capture it. I got Professor GS, that is Stephen Tenyua. Yes, you appreciated the growing attention to soil and soil resource. This is increasing because of also our effort to tell whoever is concerned, the key stakeholders at all levels. But you know, adoption is another process, but we are trying. when you make a comment that this is not the first, I get a little bit aback. In my presentation, I say that in the context of the China-Uganda South-to-South cooperation and bringing FAO, this is the first of its kind. It is not the first intervention on soil fertility management. There has been a FAO integrated pest management, integrated nutrient management, such efforts of CEDA. We have had this, but for China, Uganda South-to-South cooperation, bringing in the expertise of FAO, this is the first of its kind. I will emphasize that. Then you brought the issue of jobs for graduates. Yes, jobs for graduates. We should not stop producing, we should not stop manufacturing the expertise. But what I think we have to do is how we can reorient the trainees to join the industry, the fertilizer industry, either as businessmen and businesswomen. This is what we have to do. So if we are given this DCP and capacity, we have to use this. We produce the professionals. We need to reorient them to go into fertilizer value chain businesses. Then the role of participants not being clear, for now, this is an inception and it is virtual, but we need more comments and technical comment and many more comments. But what I know is that the stakeholders that we have identified, including yourself, Professor J.S., you have been purposely chosen or identified and recommended. I will just use the example. Why are you brought into this? Is that you were an accredited officer or member to do the fertilizer testing under the Agrochemicals Board of Uganda, for which I am a member. We accredited you to do the fertilizer trials. And therefore, we identified you in this project as a key resource person who is going to help us in those experiments, to run those experiments. So we have targeted, we have identified the stakeholders with a specific role to play. And therefore, we shall bring in more. And the details will come later as we shall discuss those with the coordinator. Then there is Dr. Kaizi here of Kawanda. There are issues of Kawanda and why Kawanda. I said, yes, we recognize Kawanda. If I think he must have missed a part of my presentation, but toward is the way forward. As a ministry, we are proposing regionalization of fertilizer testing centers. Some of even the comments are coming that we need even to scale this down to the lowest, take it to the lowest, the grassroots. Now, Kawanda is a member of the GLOSOLAN, the Global Soil Laboratory Network. And we recognize that. And Kawanda has a mandate to play over all soils in Uganda laboratory. You're going to have that capacity, but we want you to build the capacity of Serere. And their reason is given for that. Now, there is a comment, and we can discuss those later. We provide those, the justifications, the reasons later. Now, you said, I think you must have either misunderstood me, where you say that I said that soils in Uganda are poor in fertility. My emphasis was that we should stop generalizing Ugandan soils as being fertile. This is a, if I may say, this is a political statement that technical officers need to run away from. We shouldn't generalize. The soils are fertile depending on what they have to support plants or crops. That is the context. So we should not generalize. That is the emphasis. That is what I meant. So yes, they may be poor, they may be lacking something until you prove. That's why we need the testing facilities and the capacities to test. We are fostering commercialization of agriculture. And the prima facie activity of commercialization of agriculture should start with knowledge of the resource. We must profile these resources. We must carry out agronomic characterization of the production sites before we allow investments and commercial investments in agriculture. That is what I have to emphasize. Then the other one, which also Professor J.S. brought, of production, we emphasize production, then marketing. If we can provide adequate knowledge of fertilizers, of our soils in Uganda, the challenges and the opportunities, then this can go into the industry. We can stimulate the marketing of the fertilizers, the businesses within the fertilizers. And if we do that, then there will be a pull. So we are working on the push-pull. And so if we first of all create the knowledge base within the knowledge about soil and soil fertility, besides soil management, then we should also have people who should go into that industry. Those who will create the market. And once we create the market, of course, there will be demand as we go for commercialization and industrialization. I did mention the efforts of commercialization and industrialization, or the drives. Those will be the drivers of the need to use fertilizers. And therefore, we need the people to join that industry. Then having various stakeholders, I've already mentioned that we are going to provide details for who will do what during the implementation. I think for now, that is what I have to say. And for others like Dr. Joshua, thank you for your compliments. And they need to prioritize. They need to look for to commit funding. Thank you. And even Brother Chariton. Yes, implementation of the policies, that's another issue. We need formidable partnerships. We need formidable partnerships. And we need to get the resources. You and me need to work together. Thank you very much, moderator.
Okay, thank you. Participants and in various capacities, it is now a bit 30 minutes beyond what we expected to have stopped the time. I think from my own view, would really want to end here unless I'm guided differently. It's useful discussion, but certainly we cannot exhaust everything now. The recording which has been taken will help to capture all the issues, and feedback will be provided in form of a report, which the exchange can still continue even before the report is done. With the FAO, with the MAIV, and as it feasible as it can happen. So I was thinking that we go to the end of this activity, where we'll have some short statements to end the meeting or the workshop. One from the FAO rep and the commissioner. So, any comments on this way forward as we move on? And maybe I don't want to move on when there are possibly different opinions. Eugene?
Hi, Martin.
We proceed with the conclusion, or?
Yeah, I think we can go into the conclusion session here, please.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. To have this, we had in the morning we had the representative of FAO made the remarks. Unfortunately, he has gone off. He has informed me the challenge of internet connectivity. So there are 2-3 things he asked me to communicate, and then I will give the commissioner to then wrap up. So I invite myself to make those 2 statements or 3. One, Okay, before I make that, the issue of the markets was highlighted, and then the extent of the activities, whether it's so much. I think the emphasis also on this is that as we implement, we will find a way of linkages within FAO projects. That's our intent, to see the integration of this is not supposed to be an isolated project as far as the FAO country context is concerned. We will, as much as possible, try to integrate the activities with what undertaken in the country office. So that may look into some of those aspects, but I believe also, as the Commission has highlighted, looking at more opportunities elsewhere and resources that will support some of the issues that have been raised, which may not efficiently be handled by this project. So for the feedback or comments from the concluding remarks from the FAO rep, one is to thank all of you for your participation in this meeting. Normally this would have been a physical meeting where we would have a lot of interactions and more engagements in terms of discussing the project inception. But then in the current circumstances, this is the best option that we are to organize with the ministry for this meetings. Shortfalls may be there, especially as you see connectivity issues, but this is the best that we could have in terms of getting the views and concerns of the participants. So FAO is very grateful from the country context that we have had these comments, which will be useful for informing the project implementation. Some of them will be taken up and some maybe will be considered in other aspects of the FAO country project implementation. We really look at second issue was really that we look at the engagement of partners and their commitment for the implementation of this project. It's heavily dependent on the structures of the partners to deliver this project. So he really requests for your commitment and participation in this project. I shall be looked on as from time to time. And then lastly, yes, it says that this should have started earlier by last year. So there were some processes that delayed in terms of signing of project documents. So there's already a time lag in terms of the time frame of the project. So it looks like we have to do more intensified activities during this year. And also noting that there's still the challenge of COVID, but hope for the best. So we wish you all the best in your daily activities and we'll look forward to engagement in the implementation of this project and the issue of sustainability. So those were a few statements I was asked to say on behalf of the FAO country representative. Take my opportunity again to invite the commissioner. As a moderator, I invite you to make your concluding remarks, and then we can part ways in this after your remarks. It's unfortunate we cannot share coffee, cannot share anything in this time.
Still on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, on behalf of Permanent Secretary, the leader of the technical team of the ministry, I would like to sincerely thank you all for this project, much awaited project, and I will emphasize the first of its kind in Uganda within the context of the China-Uganda South-to-South cooperation. So we really like to register our utmost gratitude to the People's Republic of China and UNFAO and FAO country office, Kampala office, most especially for coming up with this project and considering Uganda. I thank you all the participants also for your input. We really reckon you for making this project a success, and we shall continue to reckon your advice. And we take your comments very, very, very seriously. And we request that you do not resent us, you do not run away from us, but from the what is obtaining at this Inception workshop is really a positive indication that we are all willing to reverse the negative indicators of soil fertility in Uganda. So I want to thank you very much for all your contributions. And I assure you that as a ministry, we are fully committed to implementing this project. If you will also be by our side, if you do not run away from us. We thank you very much. And Martin, thank you very much. The project coordinator, once again, Dr. Tong, thank you very much. We look forward to a successfully implemented project and even a bigger one, not only TCP. Thank you very much. God bless you. Workshop closed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Luakuba. So thank you very much for participants. It's my great honor to be here. So in the end of the meeting, I would like to, if possible, to see your face, because we have already one meeting and somehow I didn't see some participants' face. So please, if you can open your camera and say hello, say goodbye to everybody. I hope we can have a good cooperation in the future on the ground for promote sustainable soil fertility management in Uganda. I will put my effort to working in this project, and I hope you with me together we can do the good project, a successful project in the future. And really, please feel free to contact us, me, Martin, and I really appreciated Mr. Luakuba for your huge support to this project. Let's together to working on this project. Thank you very much. Hello. Bye-bye.
Hello. Bye-bye.
Keep in touch. Keep in touch.
Hello.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. 非常感谢。
谢谢啊，谢谢，保持联系。
谢谢，保持联系。
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep in touch.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Chu.
Project.
Fighting
for project. They're fasting.
I don't know why they put this in us.
I don't know. You were
Professor